Hey guys, I'm live. How you guys doing? I just want to chat, do a little road rant. I want to make the topic. I want to talk about AI and as applied to facial recognition and things like that, and just talk about that kind of thing. So there's 43 muscles in the face, and they all have the ability to combine together to make expressions. And machines can already read these, kind of know what you're thinking without you even saying anything, just by expression. You know what I'm saying? And I thought about it. Why stop there? There's a book by Jane Hayner, that's Haner, called The Wisdom of Your Face. It's about face reading. It's an ancient Chinese art like astrology, or numerology or whatever. They would read your face as part of your astrological makeup. So your actual physical structure of your face, if you combine the two, if you combine face reading with reading micro expressions, there's a multivariable equation involved, which would be not just your expressions, but what your face actually looks like would be part of what we use to read your face as well. And how you look would actually feed into the loop of what you're thinking or whatever too. Like if I had the same expressions but a different face, you'd read it differently. Or if I had the same expression with the same face with different expressions, you read that differently. But it goes both ways, I think. You can actually read a person both by their expressions and by how they look. Like looks is part of the expression. If I were a camel, I would think differently just because I look like a camel. Or if I were even if I had the same brain, if I were a cyclops and I had one eye, I would think differently than I do looking like Jimmie, Rex, Beethoven, Weisman, or whatever. If I were anybody else and had the same expressions, and it would also that look would actually change how I think, even if I had the same brain. But yet at the same time, having that brain in the way I look does give me control over my micro expressions of my 43 facial muscles to actually have you be able to read my face with how I look, with how I'm feeling at any given time or thinking at any given time. So I think it's interesting. But once you have a concept, don't just stop at the obvious. Take it further. I can read somebody just by looking at them, even if they're, you just can. You can do that. So just food for thought there, and also another food for thought if I can add this. This is not only the age of information. We're already in that, but we're headed toward the age of humanness, where the only thing that makes anybody valuable is their humanness, because AI will be able to do it, or already can, or will be able to do everything else. And that would mean only creativity, empathy, and unique human thought or reasoning would matter. And so my idea is maybe the new frontier of training for the new army would be the new training for survival might be in the mind as well as the body. It's in the body too. You have to have a body. I mean, military training does have value, but it's not enough anymore. You have to train your mind. You have to. In other words, getting information and learning things actually makes you have more of an asset in this new age. I think learning is important. The way you think, it's going to affect those human things too. It's going to affect your creativity, your empathy, and your way of thinking. So just food for thought. I try different things, for me to improve my brain, improve the quality of my whole self. I guess like one clue is practice ambidexterity. Don't just use one hand all the time. that keeps one side of your brain mainly in control most of the time, and that's not good for balanced creativity. You want to be able to use both sides of your brain, and since the left side of your brain is wired to the right side of your body, and the right side of your brain is wired to the left side of your body, don't just use the same hand all the time and be dominant in that hand only. Try using your non-dominant hand a lot, so you become ambidextrous, which forces you to use both sides of your brain a lot more than if you just rely on always being the hand that you're most strong in. And I think I work on that a lot anyway because of guitar. Uses both hands. And also, I just use it anyway. My left hand's pretty coordinated, even though it's not my dominant hand. I'm right-handed, but, I think that's cool. Another thing is practice. Sometimes we forget to read, R-E-A-D, because we can get information by just listening to a video or watching a video or whatever, or we can lazily get information. But remember, reading isn't just a function of isn't just for getting information. Reading changes your brain a little bit, makes it more acute, better, smarter, more able to learn. Even if you're reading stuff you already know, just the physical act of reading actually can improve your thinking ability. If you know everything, but you just sit there and you haven't read in 10 years, you won't be that smart, because your brain will be lazy, So, on the other hand, you don't want a stressed out brain either. You don't want to read all day long and get all your brain stressed out either. There's both extremes. But I find reading very important for me. I have books literally on my front porch that a lot of people wouldn't even want to pick up anyway because they'd probably go over their head. But whatever. So whenever I'm out on my front porch, I can always pick up a book and read. I never just have my phone unless I'm on a walk. And then I just have my phone. But I have books all over. I've even showed you guys a tour of my book collection. I've got books of it, so much stuff. I can't even read it all. I don't even have time for it, but it's nice to have it. So when I want to read, not only to get information, but to sharpen my brain, I've got material available. And remember, I spent 3 years at Harvard College, not only reading, but reading math and science books, engineering books, and taking tests and hearing lectures. My brain was overtrained. It's kind of a rhyme, huh? A half rhyme. But yet some of that's good. Some of that trained me. Some of that trained me to have a sharp mind, And I don't lose that. But it's good to keep it in sharp by reading today as well. By reading habitually. Let me guess, peace, love, and love.